If I only had $10,000 in 2026 and wanted to buy my very first rental property, this is exactly what I'd do. No rich parents, no huge salary, and no waiting 20 years to get started. I'm going to walk you through the exact beginner strategy I'd use if I were starting from zero today. Let's jump in. First, let's be realistic. You're probably not buying a $500,000 house in California with $10,000. But that's actually okay, because some of the best beginner opportunities aren't in expensive markets. They're in affordable cities where the numbers actually work. The goal isn't to buy your dream home. The goal is to buy an asset that puts money in your pocket every month. Step 1 is choosing the right market. The biggest mistake beginners make is searching only where they live. Instead, I look for cities where home prices are affordable, jobs are growing, population is increasing, and rental demand is strong. In 2026, I'd be looking at places in states like Ohio, Indiana, Kentucky, Alabama, and Arkansas. Not because they're exciting, because the numbers work. Remember this: investors buy numbers, homeowners buy emotions. Next, let's talk financing. A lot of people think you need 20% down to buy real estate. That's simply not true. If I were starting today, I'd use an FHA loan. An FHA loan allows qualified buyers to put down as little as 3.5%. Let's say I find a duplex for $250,000. A 3.5% down payment is only about $8,750. That's already within my $10,000 budget. And here's where things get interesting. I wouldn't buy a single-family home. I'd buy a duplex. I'd live in one unit and rent out the other. This strategy is called house hacking, and it's one of the fastest ways for beginners to get started in real estate. Now imagine the mortgage payment is $1,800 per month. If the second unit rents for $1,200 per month, my effective housing cost drops to around $600. Instead of paying the full mortgage myself, I have a tenant helping cover most of the bill. That's the power of house hacking. The property isn't just costing me money, it's producing income. But here's something many beginners overlook. You need cash reserves. This is where a lot of new investors get into trouble. They spend every dollar on the down payment. Then something breaks. Maybe the water heater fails. Maybe the roof leaks. Or maybe a tenant moves out unexpectedly. Suddenly they're pulling out credit cards just to survive. If I had $10,000 total, I'd do everything possible to keep at least a small emergency fund. Even $1,000 to $2,000 in reserves is far better than having nothing. Real estate isn't just about buying property. It's about managing surprises. Now let's talk about one of the biggest mistakes people make. They focus on appreciation. They assume property values will magically double overnight. That's not investing. That's gambling. Instead, I'd focus on one simple question. Does this property put money in my pocket every month? If the answer is yes, I'm interested. If the answer is no, I move on. Cash flow gives you options. Cash flow helps you survive downturns, and cash flow helps you buy your next property faster. Speaking of the next property, I wouldn't rush into expensive renovations. I'd focus on simple improvements. Fresh paint, better lighting, updated fixtures, basic landscaping. Small upgrades can make a property more attractive and often increase rent without requiring a huge investment. The goal isn't to create a luxury property. The goal is to steadily increase income and value over time. And finally, I'd repeat the process. This is where real wealth starts to happen. Most investors don't become wealthy because of one property. They become wealthy because they repeat a proven system. One property becomes two. Two become four. Four become 10. And eventually those properties generate enough income to create real financial freedom. So if I only had $10,000 and wanted my first rental property in 2026, my game plan would be simple. Find an affordable market, use an FHA loan, buy a duplex, house hack, keep cash reserves, focus on cash flow. Then repeat. You don't need to be rich to start investing in real estate. You just need a strategy. And sometimes that first property changes everything. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe to Money Motion for more real estate, investing, and wealth building strategies. And let me know in the comments, if you had $10,000 today, would you buy real estate, invest in stocks, or start a business? I'll see you in the next video.